Welcome back. Tonight, when we talk about our country's 250th birthday, it's so much more than fireworks and pomp. It's about faith and freedom. Ambassador Sam Brownback says America's semi-quincentennial should also act as a kind of wake-up call to protect religious liberty here at home, but also stand up for the persecuted no matter where in the world they are. And joining me now with more, Sam Brownback, former U.S. Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom and author of China's War on Faith. Ambassadors, thank you so much for joining us. Always great to have you.
Oh, it's great to be with you, Tiffany, and I love seeing you here in this setting. I've worked with you over the years, and this looks awesome. You're in the right place.
Well, thank you. And as, of course, America celebrates its 250th anniversary, we're reflecting on our nation's history and the legacy left by our founding fathers. What core values do you believe we must pass down generation to generation?
Yeah, well, religious freedom is clearly one of those. It's far more American than apple pie or hot dogs, in the sense that you wouldn't have had a United States of America if you didn't have religious freedom. If you just think about that for a little bit, you had the Roman Catholics in Maryland, you had the Quakers in Pennsylvania, you had the Anglicans in Virginia, and in Europe, they had all fought with each other. And they come over here, and you're likely to have that start, but then they came up with this brilliant idea of religious freedom. There will be no government church, there will be no Church of America, and everybody can practice their faith freely themselves, in public or private. And it was this brilliant thing that allowed these 13 different colonies with different religious takes that had been warring, say, okay, we can be a country, and it was.
Now, you have an incredible and impressive background because you have served in public office for decades and are one of only 6 individuals in American history to have held all 4 positions: congressman, senator, governor, and ambassador. What does America 250 mean to you? What are you celebrating?
I'm celebrating the beauty, the genius, the diversity of this nation of nations. So we've got people from everywhere of the world that are here, but they're Americans. They don't, I have a German background, but I'm not German, I'm an American. You're based around this set of values. It's less of a landmass and more of a set of values that this country is about. And to me, that's the thing you celebrate. And at the core of it is fundamental freedom. We saw, and the founders started up this nation that had at its core maximum freedom for the individual and limitations on the government. And it was a genius that's allowed the place to flourish.
Now, earlier this week, because you've been a long leading advocate for religious freedom, so I want to dig into that a little bit, because you've stood up not just for Americans, but also for the persecuted around the world, including in China, which China is widely regarded as one of the worst offenders when it comes to human rights and religious freedom. Now, earlier this week, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of an American telecom company that was accused of helping Beijing to target members of the faith group Falun Gong. The Falun Dafa Information Center actually has responded to the ruling. Here's a bit of what they had to say.
So the Supreme Court just ruled that American telecom giant Cisco could not be held liable under U.S. laws for aiding and abetting torture of Falun Gong practitioners and others in a foreign country, such as China. The court's ruling has severely restricted the legal options for torture victims to seek justice in the U.S. and to hold indirect facilitators accountable. It also sends a troubling signal. If a company like Cisco can supply surveillance technology to foreign adversaries like the CCP, helping facilitate torture with zero consequences, what will the CCP and other companies be emboldened to do next? It is a troubling reality. Our lawmakers must step up, close these loopholes, and uphold justice as they originally intended.
So, Ambassador, first, what do you make of the ruling, but also do you think Congress could help to close that loophole that enables American companies either willingly or unknowingly aiding suppression beyond our borders in places like China?
You know, I think it's an unfortunate ruling in the sense that here you've got Cisco doing something that really has been harmful and is a form of transnational oppression, clearly, or transnational terrorism, really. But I think what the court was looking at was that if we open this door up, this is too big of a gate for too many things that could come in. That's where Congress should step in and say, okay, let's narrowcast this so that you cannot see these incidences of transnational oppression happening domestically, but a person that is hit by this can pursue their rights in court. I think that's really what Congress should do in stepping in on this.
And speaking of transnational repression, or Beijing's long arm, the CCP has a new law seeking to target anyone who challenges the regime's definition of ethnic unity. That's regardless of nationality or location. It's set to kick in on July 1st. So, for example, people in Taiwan that don't acknowledge the island as part of communist China could also be targeted. How are you reading this development?
I'm reading this as the long arm of the CCP trying to reach out again overseas, but also to take away any sort of ethnic diversity in the country, whether it's Tibetan Buddhist or Muslim Uyghurs or Mongolian, any sort of difference there. They're just saying, no, basically they're going to mold you all into Han Chinese and take away particularly religion. Religion's the key piece that they're really after, that they go after religious heads the first and the hardest. It's an organization that's outside of the direct control of the CCP, and that's what they don't tolerate. I really think we as the United States needs to step up much more aggressively and cite to these problems of what is happening to religious groups and these diverse ethnic religious groups like Tibetan Buddhists or Muslims in Xinjiang, and stand up for them. Stand up for their religious freedom rights, but also their rights to be different from Han Chinese. They have a right to do that as individuals. And why is this country, second largest economy in the world that so many people trade with, being treated with kid gloves on these things? We should be calling them to task on these.
And speaking of religious freedom, our nation, of course, was founded on shared values, including religious liberty, freedom of speech, and the pursuit of happiness. Yet today, it seems many Americans feel deeply divided. And I want to draw from your years of working across the aisle with politicians of both parties. What lessons could you share that could help us bring the country back together?
You know, one of the things I did was I would often find a topic that both parties could agree to and had low political value at the time. So I would work with Paul Wellstone, who's a very liberal member from Minnesota, on anti-human trafficking bills, which wasn't really known much about at the time. And we were both opposed to it, coming at it, looking at it from some different angles. It didn't have high political value. And you found a way you could work together and get something done that helped billions of people around the world. I think we ought to go back to that. It's kind of some confidence building steps, really, where you just start, you know, we disagree. Paul Wellstone was the second most liberal member of the Senate. I think I, at the time, was ranked as the seventh most conservative. But we found a way to work together on something that was important. And I think we should try things like that again.
It's more that unites us than divides us.
And look for it. Search for the things that unite us, not just searching for the things that divide us.
I think that's very well said. Ambassador Sam Brownback, as always, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Tiffany.